everyone, and welcome back to another JCT Talks podcast.
In today's episode, we'll be talking about cooking.
Check out our Instagram for exclusive content.
Now on to the podcast. So yes, like I said today in today's episode, we will be talking about cooking, and we're going to be doing a little bit of different structured podcast just to try that out. So you might see some different things in that, like that, today. So anyway, I'm going to start us off with cooking. So I don't really cook too much. I know Jake does, but I don't really cook too much, I don't really. I mean, I make tea, right? So I don't think that's is that considered cooking? I mean, it could be. Okay, yeah. And so I make tea if that's so yeah. And I don't really cook food. I mean, I warm stuff up, you know. But I don't really cook, so I don't really. But like cooking, there's like a lot of people who cook. A lot of people do that. There are cooking shows. There are a lot of ways to cook. And I mean, you can bake, right? You can cook. I don't think baking is baking is not cooking, but it is it is a way to make food. Baking is a way to make food. Like you have bakeries, and then you have restaurants, and restaurants do both. They bake and cook normally. Sometimes, unless they're like McDonald's or I don't know, Wendy's, something like that. I mean, so then you have all this stuff and chefs, and yeah, all that different stuff. So a lot of ways to cook. A lot of people very much enjoy it. And I really haven't gotten into it, but I know Jake has, so I'm sure he has a lot to say about that.
Yeah, well, cooking is one of the great things that we have in the world around us, and you really don't need to cook, and it's an important life skill, but you don't need it. So making tea, that is cooking. I would consider to be boiling. But there's also different kinds of cooking where you can put something on a pan and make an egg like that, like easy things. I would consider cooking putting an Easy Mac in the microwave. That's cooking because you're the person who's doing all of that. And you might say, "Oh, I'm not good at cooking," but you might surprise yourself. You give yourself some ingredients, you just try it out. You have to start by reading instructions. And I'm actually pretty experienced with cooking. I was on a cooking TV show, so it was pretty cool. And I had a lot of different experiences with that. I met a lot of chefs. I had a lot of experiences with learning how to cook. But then there's also teaching people how to cook and eating the actual food because eating is a very important aspect of life. But you also have to teach people how to eat and cook because if you want to eat and you're by yourself, but you have a raw steak and a raw vegetables, you have to cook them. You can't just leave them. You can't eat it raw. There's a lot of different things that you have to do, but cooking can also include different cultures and a lot of different countries have different types of cooking. Now, I'm sure that Callum has a favorite food. My favorite food is definitely everything. I love proteins, I love fruits, I love vegetables. All food is delicious. I usually don't worry about calories because food is just amazing. That's the thing. And if you cook it, it's fun. Callum, do you have any ideas on your favorite food?
On my favorite food, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Yeah, food is just overall good. I mean, most food is. Some food maybe you're not a fan of, and no, that's not everyone. Maybe you're like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. How can people like this? I'm sure people do, and then people can be that like that with your favorite food too. So it's just you know, what you like and all that. I really do. See, I kind of I like a lot of food. Like I just said, I do like Chinese food. I do like that. I do like some Italian food too. And sometimes it's also just nice to have whatever laying around American food, or so yeah, I just kind of like all sorts of food. And also, how people can bake, when mountaineers, mountain climbers, those people. I've watched so many videos on people climbing like Mount Everest or K2, and you know what they do is they always have these packages of soup, And what they do is normally, even on Everest and stuff, they make a fire, they get snow, they melt the snow to make water, boiling water, and they pour that into the soup sometimes to get soup, and you eat that. And that's what I see a lot of people do. When they climb mountains for long periods of time, they just bring those soup bars, protein bars, very important. So all of that different stuff too. I mean, in baseball, I always have a protein bar before a game. So that's good too. And so yeah, there's just a lot of, I mean, there's not much cooking to that. But I guess there could be. I don't know. I mean, it's mostly robots now doing all that, manufacturing all that. So yeah, like Jake said, there's just a lot of food, and it's all pretty much good. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty great. And also drinking is also good, because drinking tea, it's great. You should try it.
Yeah, I can completely agree with Callum. Like, there's a lot of different aspects of cooking, and there's a lot of different things that you can do with cooking. Like he said, just protein bars, and just how hikers have different types of foods. You probably, when you're hiking 50 miles of a mountain, Mount Everest, like Callum said, you probably don't want to bring like a 5-pound steak, like, oh, I'm going to carry like a bunch of weight. That's what hiking, whenever you think about hiking and when you really get into it, you don't carry that much weight. You try not to carry that much weight, but how food can change depending on events. You like right before your baseball game or soccer game, you probably don't want to eat like an entire cake, right? Like, it changes depending on like what you're going to do. And that's the same thing with cultures and a lot of different things. But how cooking is a great thing with careers, that's one thing that is very, very good to people in different countries, because cooking gives people careers and in all aspects. Like Callum said, robots. Someone has to make those cooking robots, right? So that's another career. An actual chef, a sous chef, an assistant chef, a waiter. There's a lot of different things. A maitre d'. There's a lot of different jobs that cooking brings to the table. And there's these awesome things, and all these people can bring to mind. But one thing is a food reviewer. They're super interesting, and there's some that are super highly rated. Have you ever watched the movie Ratatouille? It's one of the most very famous movie, and it's a great movie. Don't you remember the food reviewer that ate Ratatouille? Now, he was rated very highly, and his ideas counted a lot. And that's the thing. Restaurants, they care about, oh, we need to make our food extra good for this person. We need to worry about our reviews, because that is how a restaurant can be affected. And with coronavirus, the restaurant industry has been affected a lot, and cooking has really changed, and people might be staying home and cooking more, and how the coronavirus has changed a lot of different things. And especially where I live, a lot of restaurants have closed, and a lot of different things has happened. Callum, what has changed with you with cooking from the coronavirus?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we started JCT Talks over quarantine, so I've been cooking tea or boiling tea, if if you call it boiling. And so yeah, that's definitely been something. Making tea. What else have I done? Oh, I have made eggs before. I mean, those are easy. And I help my dad sometimes with mashed potatoes. Not much, but like peel the potatoes. And that's not cooking, but it is making food. So it does fall near cooking. With the big family tree, I don't think cooking would be at the top. Food would probably be at the top, and then you have like baking, cooking would probably be the next two, and then it goes down from that, like preparing food. There's the preparer who makes the dish look really nice, or prepares the food, and then you have the chef, who makes the wonderful food. And you have all these different classes of a cook, a chef. So there's all that different stuff too. And maybe you don't make food, but you work at a food place. But maybe your job is just as important as the chef. You're the waiter, maybe. The chef can't be the waiter and the chef. That's very tricky for the waiter, because then he's going to have to run back and forth between making food, making sure they don't burn, preparing the dishes and then serving them many at a time, which would be very tricky. That's why you need a waiter to do that for you. Then the waiter brings you the meals, gives you what they want. And that's why you have multiple chefs normally. So then you can work at multiple things at a time. This chef, I want you to prepare the carrots. I want you to peel all the potatoes. Um, and then there's that too, when they're making a big deal, a big dish, maybe for a food critic, like Jake was saying. Yeah, food critics are very important because it can mean the difference between business and not business. And normally, if you have a business, that's the only thing you're doing at the time. So you need good business. So you need to, serve it well, serve it nice. And then the food critic might not expect much from it. So you got to wow him, and so then there's all that stuff too. And you got to really just, you got to really think, you got to really work, you got to really help the critic, or not help the critic. You just got to make a good meal for the critic. You got to wow the critic. That's what you got to do. And you got to be smart. So there's a lot that goes into cooking and making food, preparing food, serving food, taking orders for food. So there's just all this different stuff too, open a family restaurant, if you have kids, have your kids be the waiters. I don't know. Help your kids around, that's something too. You should probably also get employees that can help you with these things, experienced employees. That's very important, but so yeah, there's all that stuff too. And I want to ask Jake, like, have you ever, like, do you have any like signature dishes?
Yeah, so that's a question that I actually get a lot from people because they're like, "Oh, you're good at cooking and you're 12 years old. How do you do you have any tips or signature dishes that you could give me the recipe for?" And frankly, I don't really have a signature dish. I definitely like making specific things like steaks and proteins and just these specific things. One of my signature sides, I would call it, is brown buttered mashed potatoes. It's just mashed potatoes, making them, and then you just put brown butter on it. And if you've ever made brown butter, it's just butter in a pan that's browned. You just leave it in the pan and just pour it into the mashed potatoes and you mix it. And it's a great Thanksgiving addition or Thanksgiving or Christmas. Like there's a lot of different things you could use it for, and that's why cooking is really important because there's different things. If you know Thanksgiving, what's the main dish that you think of in Thanksgiving? It's a turkey or mashed potatoes or green beans. There's a lot of different things that you think of with Thanksgiving, but the thing with Thanksgiving is it also requires jobs to make those foods or get you turkey. And that's why I really liked it how Callum talked about you start with the chef, then you have the assistant chefs, and you got a bunch of extra things, and it's really an art. But whenever you go really, really far back, you got the dairy farmers, you got the chicken farmers, you've got all the way through till it's served on the plate. And cooking is an art. You have to cook it to perfection. You have to think about it if you're painting. Imagine now you have to have it, oh, I need to make this line perfectly straight. Oh, I need to paint it blue. There's these specific things, and that's cooking for you. If you ever plated a professional plate of food, you'll see, oh, I gotta dust it. Oh, I gotta place this here. Oh, I gotta do this here. I gotta move this here. This is a specific thing, and how cooking is so much an art. And how it kind of relates to what Callum said, where you got to have a chef and you got to have all the assistants. That's also an art. You have to make sure this person's going to be here, this person's going to be here. You got to sort everybody out, and you got to make sure it makes sense. You got to make sure it looks good for critics and for business. And really, restaurants, some people live off of restaurants. You need it. Family restaurants, those families need that restaurant to pay bills, to just be able to live life, because that's what they love, that's what they like doing, and that's just a way for them to live. Callum, do you have anything add on that?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah, and definitely, you definitely need to work on that. And how I was saying earlier, how you have critics, and you got to really work. You got to make the dish look good for the critic too. You always got to make your food look good, but especially with a critic. But I mean, you always want to make your food look good and appetizing. I mean, you don't want to go to a restaurant and be like, oh, look at that really cool restaurant over there. Let's go there, and then they serve you this awful looking meal. You're probably gonna get bad reviews. And so then that's important too. You got to think, well, people, people have a voice too. They can give reviews, they can write reviews. When you look up on like maps, when you look at this place, you're like, okay, how late are they open? There'll be reviews down there, like how many stars you're rated, and then you can look at other reviews like that too. So then you have to, do that well too. So that's very important too. So you gotta always prepare your food well, always do it well. You gotta know the dish. Very important. That's why the head chef always is like the pro. You come new to the job, the head chef might give you kind of a hard time. Maybe the head chef's like, no, it's gotta be like this because I've been doing this for ages and ages. Not ages. I've been doing this for years and years. I've been doing this for years and years. This is how people know it. And we're gonna work on it, but you just gotta get it perfecto. I mean, I don't think that the head chef on your first day would let you make a signature meal. But if so, then that's pretty cool. You must be a good chef then. And also, yes, I just remembered, yeah, for Thanksgiving, I helped my dad with the turkey. And there's a lot to do with it. I mean, you have to baste it every like 15, 20, 30 minutes. And then you have to cook it. And I helped my dad with the turkey, helped my mom with the green bean casserole. And I think I helped my dad with mashed potatoes. So I did help with that, mainly the turkey, and that was a lot of work. You got to get it perfect. You got to get it perfectly right. It's just a lot of work, and there's a lot that goes into it. And then you have stuff too, like if we went out and hunted a turkey. I mean, the turkeys that you normally buy have a thermometer in them. So then if you hunted a turkey, you have to bring it home. You have to skin it, and then you would have to take out its organs and stuff. And then you'd have to freeze it. And after you freeze it, then you would have to, and then when you're cooking it, you'd have to get a thermometer and put it in to feel the temperatures instead of it just pop out or whatever. So then So then there's that too. It's just a lot to do. In that way too. And like when you look at our lives, how we cook now versus so many years ago, it's so different because you can just go to the store and get a can of green beans, let's just say, and then you dip them into that, spread them around and cook it. That is definitely a way. And then then you can be like, yeah, I made this awesome casserole. Yeah, I made an awesome casserole. And they're like, how did you cook it? And they'll be like, oh, I went to the store, I got a can, put it in the jar and put it in the oven. That doesn't sound the most impressive. Then when we look way back when, they had to hunt, they had to get the food, and it did not look as appetizing, but it was food. They cooked it. It did not have all these spices and all this stuff. So there's that too. So there's a lot of ways of cooking. And if you really want to have a very, very, what's the right word? At your own Thanksgiving, let's just say, you could grow crops. You can grow green beans, grow corn, grow potatoes, grow carrots, all this different stuff. Then you can pick that at the right time, bring it in, do onions, probably very important. And then, do all your stuff, hunt the turkey, hunt all the meat that you want, and then bring it home and then do all that. That'd be a lot of work. You'd probably have to prepare a few days in advance. But it could definitely work. I want to ask Jake, how was your Thanksgiving, and what did you help with?
Yeah, my Thanksgiving, it was mainly just my family, just spending time together because it's coronavirus has affected all of us, and we were just pretty much all together. And what I helped with was pretty much a little bit of everything. I usually don't focus on a single thing because I get bored very easily, and I find, I like to do the easy steps of cooking. And I just don't like going like the extra step, like, I gotta plate it and I gotta do all this extra stuff. Like, I don't like doing that part. But I enjoy the cooking part, and I did a lot of the turkey with my dad. I made the mashed potatoes. I did cranberry sauce. One of the things about cranberry sauce is jellied cranberry sauce. It's delicious. I know it's debatable. Some people either really like it or really hate it, but it's jellied cranberry sauce. It's full of sugar. If you look at the first ingredient, it goes cranberries, high fructose corn syrup. So that's how it compares from, like Callum said, was in the past and now in the present. If you look at our cranberry sauce now, it's cranberries, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, 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 and then some coloring. But then if you go back to when it was the first years and it was just cranberries, or right, like just super easy. Like it's changed a lot through history. And one of the things that is an advancement in technology, like Colin said, was robots. Another thing is DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates. These companies, they've brought food delivery to the table, and they've made it so much easier because the coronavirus pandemic has affected everybody, and mainly how it's affected me is how we can't go out to eat in restaurants anymore. So now we have to get delivery of food. We have to pick it up. We can't eat there anymore because of the masks. And when you try to eat out, if you try to eat with a mask on, I don't think you can because it would just block the food. I mean, I don't think I can. I know that you cannot eat with a mask on, but that's one of the things and how the coronavirus has affected so many of us, and especially in the cooking industry. And that's how, if you look at catering, catering's all down. If you just look at all restaurants, there's a lot of business that have been closing, specifically restaurants because they can't serve. Think about it as a restaurant. If you are the owner of a restaurant and you just buy $2,000 of ingredients for the week. Fresh steak, fresh chicken, vegetables, fruits, all for your dishes. Then the next day you find out, oh, your restaurant's closed because of the coronavirus pandemic, and you can no longer serve your food. Well, that means that all that food, you can't eat all that yourself, right? What are you going to do with it? It has to be thrown away. And that's one of the hard things. And then after that $2,000, then all your payments, like you still got to pay for your restaurant space, even if no one's there, because don't you want to still own your restaurant? Yeah. So, and then all these bills add up and you're like, you know what? I'm going to have to close this restaurant. And then that's the unfortunate thing that happened to a lot of restaurants around the world. That's going to finish me up for this episode. Callum, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, I definitely do, Jake. Yeah, you have some great points with all of the different stuff with the businesses going out of business. That is very, very important. You'd be like, okay, yes, I'm prepared for 2 weeks. Let's go. I've never done this before. Maybe you have, but let's just say you haven't, right? And then you're like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna save. I don't think it would save you money, but it'd save you time. So then you can be like that, and then a few days later, a week later, you have to close down your restaurant. That's not good. That is not good. You can still technically open up your restaurant. If you don't live in a really populated area with not a lot of cases, then you could, with a lot of precautions, right? With masks. I mean, I remember going to a restaurant on my birthday. We ate outside, but I mean, my state didn't have too many cases at the time, and you had to wear masks. Every other table was like blocked off, and most people were. And there were some people in there, and so then that's a way you could. It'd be very tricky. You'd have to do a lot of stuff. You'd have to pay for masks, and you'd also have to pay for hand sanitizer too. So you'd have to pay for all that different stuff. So it could be a little bit, but it could definitely help out your business. You can also make an online website where you can deliver stuff too, which a lot of restaurants do have, and there's that too. So that's definitely something that's people have been doing a lot with like DoorDash and Uber Eats, right? Wait, but no, yeah, that's right. And all this different stuff. So yeah, that's definitely, you can definitely try to figure out ways like that, so then you can be like, okay, let me just have a day and think about this. Let me just have a day to relax and think about what I'm going to do. Have that day, figure this out, and then when you figure it all out, then you can get your business back up running, and that maybe you just take a day, because if you freak out, you panic, that's not going to help anyone. So just take a day, think about what you're going to do, think about your business, and the safety of others, but and that's definitely important. So there's so much that goes into it, especially with the coronavirus pandemic. It's definitely affected so many people, so many businesses, so many other stuff. And if you're an online website, then it's probably helped you. So it's definitely kind of back and forth between the two. It helps you, but then it doesn't help you. So there's that too. I know Amazon has had amazing business since the coronavirus. but other businesses haven't. So I think that's also going to finish me up. If Jake wanted to add anything to that, he may.
Yeah, I agree in how cooking is one of the many industries that is mainly modernized. Like you said, Amazon, that's one of the industries, the shipping industry, like it's just taking over everything. And like how Postmates, Uber Eats, like those online eating companies that just deliver right to your door, they're also taking over the industry. No one wants to eat in restaurants anymore when they can have that food delivered right to their door. So that's gonna finish me up. Thank you so much for watching JCT Talks cooking episode. Cal, would you like to tell the viewers about our Instagram?
Yes, our Instagram. Yes, our Instagram. The link will be in the description below. Like always, please go drop us a follow. Please go look at our stuff for exclusive content, like Jake said earlier in the video. And you can just find sweet stuff. There's gonna be some more stuff this December month. I know that you might see that our second newest post was from October, but that hopefully that won't happen again. So we'll try to get you guys some more content. And so yeah, I think that's gonna finish me up. Thank you all for watching. Jake?
Yes, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.